So by a quick show of hands, how many of you are having Christmas dinner at your house tomorrow? Come on, don't be afraid to put them up. I'm not looking for a free meal. Okay, so plenty of you are having Christmas at your house tomorrow. So I imagine over the past few weeks you've been preparing for tomorrow. Out buying all the food that you need, maybe even cooking some of it ahead of time, but getting ready for that big day tomorrow when we celebrate Christmas Day. But I have a question for you. How would you react? What would you do if all of that planning, all of that preparation went right out the window? If some unforeseen event occurred and you weren't able to cook that meal for your family and your friends tomorrow, would it ruin your Christmas? Would you let it ruin that day? Or would you just roll with it and make the best of the day with your family and your friends? We prepare as well as we can for many things, but we have to be prepared for when plans go astray. Two of our scripture passages today speak directly to that. In the first reading from Samuel, we hear the story of King David, who after leading his military for many years in many battles, finally is living with his people in peace in Jerusalem. And he wants to do something for God. So he says to the prophet Nathan, he said, "Nathan, I think I'm going to build a temple for God's tabernacle." Nathan says, "King, I think that's a good idea. You ought to do that." But then as we heard in Scripture that night, God came to Nathan and said, "Nathan, go talk to the king." He said, "I don't want him to be building a temple, a house for me." He said, "I'm going to build my own temple. A temple not made with human hands, but a temple for all of my people. And that temple will be through my son Jesus, who will be of the line of David. So tell him thanks, but tell him I'll take care of that." And that's what King David did, even though we didn't hear it in the scripture passages today. He was always willing to listen to what it was that God was asking of him. And then in our gospel reading from Luke, we hear that beautiful story of Mary. I'm sure this young teenage girl wasn't thinking about becoming the mother of Jesus. I'm sure all she was thinking about at the time was, I'm going to marry Joseph, we're going to have children, we're going to raise a family, and we'll move on from there. But here, out of the blue, the angel Gabriel comes to her and says, "Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. And you're going to be the the mother of God's only Son." And as we heard in that scripture passage, she had no idea what that meant. She had to ask questions because she was confused. I'm sure she was afraid. But the angel comforted her and said, "You found favor with God." And Mary did what we're all called to do. She didn't question it then. After hearing the explanation, she just said, "Let it be done to me according to your word." She answered it, even though it didn't fit in to the plans that she had made for her life. And as we celebrate the last day of the Advent season, that past 3 weeks when we were supposed to be preparing ourselves, certainly for the celebration of the birth of Christ tomorrow, but even more so, preparing ourselves for the day when Jesus will come again. And as we look back over those 3 weeks, have we used those weeks wisely? Have we truly prepared? Have we used the sacrament of reconciliation to put us back in good graces with God? Have we done what Father Seeger asked us to do 3 weeks ago, if you heard his homily, when he said, find one thing in your life that needs to change, and just work on that throughout Advent. Not 10 things, he said, just find one. If we've used Advent wisely, if we have prepared ourselves as best we can for that second coming of Christ, then I am certain that those who have will have a peaceful, a calm, and a comforting Christmas day and a Christmas season. And if we have, then I would ask us as we look forward to the coming of the new year, rather than make all those same tired resolutions we make every year, I'm going to exercise more, I'm going to eat less, I'm going to lose weight, and then 2 weeks later, that goes right out the window as well. Instead of making those same old resolutions, consider these. Consider mending any broken fences in your life. Consider building bridges with one another. And consider if there's any wrong you committed over the past year to right that wrong this coming year. Imagine if we all commit and we do that, how we will come to help fulfill the plan that God truly has for our world. Let me extend to all of you and your families the most blessed, holy, peaceful, and Merry Christmas. Thank you.